All right, let's jump right into this. There's this one simple, but honestly pretty profound idea that you see pop up everywhere in philosophy, in sports, even in poetry. And it's one of those things that once you really get it, it can completely change how you look at your life, your work, well, everything.
Now, obviously, we're not just talking about getting a better seat at a ball game. We're talking about the seat you choose to take in life. And this seat, it's built out of your habits, what you believe, and the discipline you either build up or, just kind of let slide. It's the vantage point inside your own head.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the untrained view. From that seat, the world just looks like it's full of obstacles, maybe some bitterness, and just random luck. But from the other seat, the trained view, suddenly you see possibility, you see clarity, and you see choice. The most important part? We are always choosing which seat we're in. So this whole explainer is really about how we can start choosing the better one.
Okay, so to choose our seat, we first have to get a handle on what keeps us stuck in the bad ones. And the biggest enemy here isn't some huge, dramatic failure. No, it's way quieter than that. It's subtle. It's that slow, almost unnoticeable drift of just going through the motions.
Bruce Springsteen just nailed this feeling. It's not one big event. It's a slow burn. It's this process of giving up without ever really deciding to. It's like a quiet death by 1,000 tiny little concessions.
You know what's wild? This is not a new problem. The philosopher Seneca was writing about this stuff 2,000 years ago, how people just drain their days with pointless worries and distractions. The only thing that's changed is what it looks like. Today, it's the endless scrolling, that low-grade anxiety that's always buzzing in the background, or that slow deflation of dreams that used to feel so real.
And that's the real tragedy of it all, isn't it? Nobody wakes up one morning and says, you know what, today I'm going to abandon my potential. It doesn't work like that. It happens because over hundreds of tiny little moments, we just failed to choose the other path, the path of purpose. We just failed to decide otherwise.
So how do we fight back against this drift? Well, it all starts with understanding this one fundamental idea that honestly gives us all our power back. It's the difference between what we're given and what we create.
First up, you've got fate. Think of this like the hand of cards you were dealt in a game. You didn't choose where you were born, or your family, or what time in history you'd live in. These things are just given. They're the facts of your life you can't change.
But then there's destiny. And this, my friends, is the absolute game changer. See, destiny isn't what you're given. It's what you do with what you're given. It's all about how you play that hand. Destiny is made, not given, and it has the power to totally transform your fate.
And this idea just completely flips our modern obsession with natural talent on its head. As the philosopher Nietzsche pointed out, we love to talk about people being gifted, but if you actually look, so many of the people we call geniuses, they weren't born that way. They acquired it. They put in the work. They built their own destiny.
And this applies to pretty much everything. Let's take memory. The author Jim Kwik says there's actually no such thing as a good or bad memory. There's only a trained memory and an untrained one. It's not some gift you have or you don't, it's a skill you build. The view from that better seat, it's not a gift, it's something you build. It's not a birthright, it's a place you decide to move to.
So if destiny is something we build, then what's our main tool? Simple. It's training. It's the one thing that separates the people who are prepared from those who aren't.
This quote from the ancient poet Archilochus might be one of the truest things ever said. When the pressure is on, our hopes, our wishes, our good intentions, they mean nothing. The only thing that shows up for us is what we've practiced, what we've rehearsed, what we have trained for. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius knew this inside and out. He wrote that an untrained mind is like an undisciplined animal, just jerked around by every little impulse, every external event. But a trained mind holds its ground. It's stable because it's been put through its paces.
And for the Stoics, this wasn't some fuzzy, abstract concept. It was a real, daily practice. As you can see here, it was a whole regimen. Step 1, they'd start the day with reflection. Step 2, they'd actually visualize and rehearse tough situations they might face. And step 3, they'd end their day reviewing how they did. They were actively building the mental muscles they needed to live a good life.
So this brings all these huge ideas, fate, destiny, training, down to the most practical level possible. Because shaping our destiny isn't really about one big, grand gesture. It's about a small, simple choice that we get to make every single day. The legendary basketball coach George Raveling is a perfect example of this. Every single morning, he puts his feet on the floor and says this right to himself. It's a deliberate choice he makes about the attitude he's going to bring to the day, no matter what that day decides to throw at him.
And that right there, is the beating heart of Stoic philosophy. As Epictetus, who was born a slave, famously said, "You can chain my leg, but you can't touch my freedom of choice. The world can do whatever it wants to you on the outside, but that power to choose how you respond on the inside, that's the one freedom they can never, ever take away."
But here's a crucial point. All this training is totally pointless if we aim it in the wrong direction. We're always told to become more, to have more. But when do we ever stop and actually define what more means to us? Is it just about career ambition, or is it about a whole life kind of success? One that includes our relationships, our family, our health, our sense of meaning?
The NBA star Ricky Rubio gives us a really clear picture of this. Right at the peak of his career, he made a decision. When his son starts school, basketball will no longer be his #1 priority. Now, that's not just a whim. That's the kind of clarity that comes from training your mind to focus on what actually matters most.
And so, here we are, right back where we started. But now, hopefully, we can see the machinery behind it all. The view you have of your life, whether you're seeing obstacles or you're seeing possibilities, is a direct result of the seat you've chosen through your daily training and your daily choices.
So, if there's one thing to take away, it's this. The quality of your life isn't decided by your circumstances. It's decided by the quality of your attention and your response. The real work is training your mind to see the hand you've been dealt not as some fixed fate, but as the raw material for building your destiny. A trained mind literally sees a different world.
That clarity, that sense of peace, that strength, that view is absolutely worth the work. And the power to choose your seat, to train your mind, it's available to you every single day, starting right now. So the only question left is the one you have to answer for yourself. Where are you going to choose to sit?